For centuries, this city was believed to be nothing more than a myth, a place mentioned in ancient texts, but never seen. Then, beneath the waters of Egypt's coast, something impossible unexpectedly emerged. Temples rise from the sandy seabed. Statues stare silently through the murky water. And streets stretch into shadows where sunlight barely reaches. This is the story of an Egyptian city that didn't fall to war or fire but slowly disappeared beneath the sea. Welcome to Whispering Archives, where history doesn't just speak. It whispers across the centuries, long before Alexandria rose to power. The city of Thonis-her-Klayan was one of Egypt's most important ports on the Mediterranean. Imagine a time when the Nile Delta was a maze of waterways, connecting the heart of Egypt with the rest of the ancient world. Here, at the mouth of the river, stood a city teeming with life. Ships with painted sails and exotic goods once threaded through its bustling harbors, bringing treasures from Greece, Phoenicia, and beyond. Traders haggled in the marketplace, their voices a mix of different languages, while priests whispered prayers to gods whose names are now almost forgotten, like Amen-Gareb and Khonsu. Kings, traders, and priests walked its streets, conducting business and performing rituals in grand temples. It was a place of immense wealth, intricate rituals, and significant political influence, standing at the fragile, shifting edge between land, river, and sea. But the city did not vanish overnight. No great battle was fought. No army laid siege to its walls. Instead, nature, in its quiet, relentless way, began to reclaim it. The very ground the city was built on, soft, water-soaked soil and clay, was its greatest vulnerability. Over the centuries, a combination of natural forces conspired against it. Earthquakes, common in this seismically active region, would periodically shake the land, weakening the foundations of its massive stone structures. This constant trembling led to a phenomenon known as soil liquefaction. Imagine the solid ground suddenly behaving like a liquid. The intense pressure from the shaking caused the water within the soil to push the sediment grains apart, turning firm land into a thick and stable slurry. Temples, monuments, and entire buildings began to tilt and sink, gradually being swallowed by the very earth they were built on. No one would have been prepared for such a slow, creeping disaster, and as the ground sank, the sea crept in like a silent thief, its waters rising slowly but surely, year by year. The coastline shifted, carrying away entire neighborhoods into the deep. As generations passed, the city of Thonis-her-Klayan faded from memory. Its name survived only in scattered ancient writings, like those from the Greek historian Herodotus, who mentioned its great temple. But with no physical city to point to, many historians and scholars came to believe it was nothing more than a legend, perhaps a mythical name for another place, or an allegorical story. Legends whispered of a city that vanished overnight, swallowed by a great wave. Sailors passed down stories of strange, unpredictable currents in the area where the city was said to have stood, hinting at a secret the sea refused to reveal. For over 1,000 years, the sea kept its secret, hiding an entire chapter of Egyptian history beneath the waves. The once thriving port, a gateway to Egypt, became a ghost story, a forgotten memory preserved only in the salt-stained pages of ancient scrolls. The world moved on, and Thonis-her-Klayan was lost. Then, in the year 2000, a team led by French underwater archaeologist Frank Gaudio made a discovery that shocked the world. While surveying the seabed in Aboukir Bay, just a few miles off the coast near Alexandria, their equipment detected something extraordinary buried beneath the sand. What they found was not just a few artifacts, but the remains of a vast, submerged ancient city. Divers descended into the green-blue haze and were met with an unbelievable sight. Colossal statues of gods and pharaohs, some over 16 feet tall, loomed from the seabed, their stone faces encrusted with coral and sea life. They found sunken ships, gold coins, and delicate jewelry glinting faintly in the underwater lights. Temples dedicated to Egyptian gods were remarkably preserved. Frank Gaudio and his team realized the gradual sinking, which had destroyed the city, had also preserved it in ways no one could have expected. The thick layers of sand and sediment had protected the artifacts from the corrosive effects of salt water and the destructive force of sea currents. The lost city was real, and the sea had kept it hidden and safe for centuries. Today, the exploration of Thonis Heraclein continues, but what we've seen so far is only a fraction of what lies below. It's estimated that only about 5% of the ancient city has been uncovered, much of it remains buried beneath deep layers of sand and sediment, a silent world waiting to be rediscovered. Every dive is a step back in time. Archaeologists carefully brush away sand to reveal fragments of temple walls, scattered pottery, and stone tablets with ancient inscriptions half buried in the seabed. These finds raise as many questions as they answer. How did the people react as their city slowly sank? What stories do these silent statues hold? The sea does not easily return what it has taken, and the work is slow, difficult, and dangerous. Each artifact brought to the surface is a whispered message from the past, a piece of a grand puzzle that archaeologists may never fully complete. The story of Thonis Heraclein reminds us that history does not always disappear. Sometimes, it simply waits. It proves that even the most powerful cities can be humbled by nature, and that the ocean can be both a destroyer and a preserver. Silent beneath the waves, this lost city is now speaking to those who dare to listen, its story waiting patiently, like a secret held for thousands of years. What other secrets are still hidden in the deep, waiting to rewrite what we think we know about the past? Dive deeper into history with us, subscribe and follow for more secrets reclaimed from the forgotten corners of our world. Thanks for watching.